I think we're live. Okay. We're back at the Healing House. And last week I had some technical difficulties, and this week I think we're good to go. So, hello and welcome to Tuesday Tea at the Healing House. I always love hearing from anyone who is watching live. So, the replays are always here afterwards. But if you're here live, let me know. I see some folks joining. Pop in the chat just to confirm with me that you can actually hear my microphone, and also just let me know where you're watching from. Oh, hi, Cami. So good to see my regulars. Okay, today we're going to talk about evolving relationships. And somebody, forgive me, I can't remember who suggested this topic. Was it Jenny? I can't remember who suggested this topic last week, but I remember when this topic was suggested, I kind of was like, I can't talk about relationships. I don't know anything about that. I've I've been married 20 years, but there's been, I'm no expert in relationships. However, it's just kept coming back to me through, like podcasts that I've heard or little things that I've seen that's all about this theme that so many people are noticing, and I'm noticing it too, of evolving relationships and changing relationships, and how it's really shifting for a lot of people right now. And so taking a deep breath into your body, like really doing it right now, and really sensing into what is alive for you right now in relationships. So, is it that you are feeling lonely? I know we've talked about this a lot in these Tuesday tea dates, is people feeling like, where are my people? Where are my people that get me? Where are the people that I can really connect with? Making new friends can be hard when we get older. So is it that you're feeling like, where are the relationships? Where are the friendships, the people that I can really connect with? Or are you feeling like you're in a position where you are in changing relationships, like maybe friendships that you've had for a long time? It's like randomly they're like falling away. Like what, like nothing's changed, but all of a sudden, like, I'm never hearing from this person anymore. Or like, it's just like things aren't, it's like we're not on the same wavelength anymore. We're not lining up. Like, what's going on? This thing that used to be so tight and so strong and so great, we'd talk every day and we'd share everything. It's like we're just not anymore. So maybe that's something you're experiencing. Or maybe you are maybe you're in a romantic relationship and you feel like you're evolving or you're growing. And I don't mean to do like my hand up, like I'm saying it's better, but it's like you're growing, and maybe it feels like they're not. And it feels like they're just kind of staying stagnant, whereas you are making rapid shifts. Even if they're kind of under the surface, all of a sudden you realize, wow, I've really changed. And they're not. They're still doing what we used to like to do 20 years ago or whatever. So no matter what your stage is in right now, it's what I wanted to talk about today. And I have just a couple of little notes. And again, I want to say I am not an expert on this. Let me just see who's here. So Dana, hi. Tamea, hi. And Susan, hi. Oh, so good to see you all. So anyone still watching, would you like to share anything about kind of where you are in relationship right now? And I know it's a sensitive topic, so maybe you're like, I don't want to out the fact that like I'm not so into my friendships anymore, or things are changing with my husband or my partner or whatever. So I totally get it if you don't want to share, but if you do, share in the comments. Hi, Kim. So yeah, share in the comments. I want to talk about these things. Like I said, I have a couple tiny notes, and I'm also going to pour myself tea because it's Tuesday tea at the Healing House. So what are you drinking today? Here's my tea cup. I've got the breast mug again, different color this time. And I'm going to be using Moon Potion tea. We just passed a new moon. So obviously, if you're not watching this live, then it'll be a different moon phase for you. But I have loved like keeping track of the moon. It is so fun. When I was younger, I didn't know. I didn't know what a full moon was. I mean, of course I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know, like a waxing moon or a waning moon, the phases of the moon, and how it's so stabilizing, so grounding, because it keeps cycling. It's like the one thing we can count on is that somewhere there's a sun, even if you don't see it. There is a sun somewhere that's bringing light, even if you've got clouds and rain and whatever. There's a sun up there, and we're going to see the moon, the sun rising and the moon rising, and we're going to see some cool phase of the moon. And it just keeps going. Every 28 days, we have a new full cycle of the moon. It's really grounding to follow it and to connect with it. And then, of course, if you notice your female rhythms are syncing up with the moon, that is really cool too. So I am going to put in a nice hearty spoonful of my moon tonic tea here. And it has, let's see what it has in it. Oh my gosh, I just got like a whole berry. I think it has a berry. It has lady's mantle, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure you could look this up to double check, fact check me here, but I believe lady's mantle is a tea that has been, it's said that it can be very supportive for pelvic health issues like prolapse, sort of that feeling of heaviness in your pelvic floor, bladder issues, things like that. Lady's mantle tea is supposed to be helpful for that. So I actually didn't realize that was in this blend. So it's got lady's mantle, milky oat tops, and those are really good for anxiety. They're very good for calming the nervous system. Blackberry leaf and fruit. That must be what I see in here. It's literally like a whole blackberry. Can you see that? It's a whole blackberry. I love it. So blackberry leaf and fruit, bilberry leaf and fruit, raspberry leaf, elderberry, hawthorn leaf and flower, and lavender. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. This was a gift from a friend of mine. So yeah, it says it helps heal the stomach lining, strengthen upper GI function, and balance blood sugar. In women, it helps reduce heavy flow, regulate irregular cycles, alleviate cramps and PMS, tone the uterus and pelvic area postpartum, and may treat fibroids, endometriosis, hot flashes, and night sweating. Cool. Okay, I'm going to go pour my tea water, and I hope you're making yourself some tea as well. We are going to jam in just a second. Let's bring the tea water over. Okay. So we're going to have our tea. I'm going to let mine steep for quite a while, partially because my tea water is probably not. I boiled it right before I started this call, so I don't know if it's really hot enough. I'm going to let my tea steep for quite a while. But I thought we could do a little body mapping practice to kind of land before we actually start our conversation. This helps not only you, hopefully, but it helps me too. And it gives you a little sense and taste of things that I do with my clients too. So anyway, I've got my tea. We are steeping. I hope you are steeping yours as well. And yeah. Also, speaking of things I do with my clients, would you all be interested in me sharing maybe next week or the week after? I don't know when, but at some point, would you be interested in learning what a session with me looks like when people come for a private retreat with me and they do full days of whole woman, whole pelvic care? If you'd be interested in just kind of knowing what that looks like, not as a sales pitch, but just if you're curious. Kemi says, yes, cool. Okay, Kemi, if you're in, then let's do that. Maybe I'll do that next week. Okay, because what I do is quite different than, it's not physical therapy. It's not, oh, Jenny's here. Hi, Jenny. Oh my gosh, it's so sweet seeing these names of, oh, it makes me so happy. Like, this makes it worth it. Sometimes I'm like, gosh, I don't know. Like, I don't know if anyone's really into these Tuesday teas at the Healing House. But when I see you guys showing up, week after week and being here with me, and then when I see names that I know and have been with me for so long, like Ginny and Kim and Canny and Susan, and now Tamaya and now Dana, like, I know your names, and I just really, it warms my soul. So, okay. So next week we'll talk about what I do in my sessions. But this week, we're talking about evolving relationships, and we're letting our tea steep right now. And I want to land us with a body mapping practice. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of talk you through it. And so if you are in a place where you can actually participate in this, like if you're in a private space, and ultimately if you're not driving or walking, you could close your eyes. But if you are driving or walking, that's okay. Just don't close your eyes. Just clearly stay safe. But wherever you are, if you're sitting or lying down, close your eyes. If you are driving or walking, keep your eyes open and just take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose for a count of 3 or 4. And out through your mouth, maybe even audibly with a sigh for a count of 6 or 8. Couple more of those just like that. In through your nose, out through your mouth for longer. So you don't have to be exact. But if you go in for your nose 3 counts, try going out through your mouth 6 counts. So I'll just do one more with you. Good. And maybe one more, and this one, intentionally let go of something that you're ready to just release from the day so far. So breathing in through your nose and exhaling with a sigh, and just letting go of something, a conversation, an argument, something that bugged you that you saw, a stressor that's bugging you. Okay, good. So now, just keeping with a regular breath pattern, whatever feels good and natural to you, try to land and map your body. And so come to your head, anywhere in your head. And it can be helpful if you can close your eyes because it can kind of bring you into the cave, where there's not as many distractions. But go ahead and feel into your head space, your head, and name out loud. Obviously, I don't want you to distract yourself by typing it in the chat. So just name out loud in your head something that you're feeling, some sensation that you're feeling in your head right now. And there are no right or wrong answers. It could be emptiness, busyness. It could be a color. It could be a texture like tarry or fluttery or buzzy or yellow or green or anything or nothing, or maybe numbness or disconnection. So again, with your attention on your head, name out loud in your own space 2 sensations that you feel in your head. For me, I feel calm and I feel like a lavender. Okay. Now scanning down to your throat and like chest, throat, shoulder area. Chest, throat, shoulder, heart even. That's a lot, but let's kind of tackle a lot of areas all at once. Throat, shoulders, collarbone, heart, this kind of area here. Closing your eyes and feeling into that space. Name 2 sensations that you feel. Go ahead and name them out loud into your room, into your space where you are. I feel a little fluttery and I feel this tug, this like pull and tug to like justify why this is important to do. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to honor this pull and tug that I feel about explaining why we're doing this. The reason why is because anytime we're talking about relationships or really anything in our lives, but especially relationships, such an important part of being human, right? The first and primary relationship is with yourself and with your body. You can't be in profound, ideal relationships with other people if you don't have a relationship with yourself. It's true. And so relationship with yourself is so important, and simple ways to develop it are this: getting present, mapping your body, mapping yourself, knowing yourself. And it's why I created my new touched audio. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll tell you about that next. It's so good. It's not a seeing thing, it's a hearing thing, but I really love it. So anyway, coming back in, if you left, if you opened your eyes and looked at me, coming back in, closing your eyes, throat, shoulders, collarbones, heart. 2 sensations. Mine were fluttery and a tug. Sighing it out, shaking it out. And now bringing your attention and awareness, we'll go and end here. This will be our last resting place for our awareness. And that's going to be your belly, womb, hips, pelvis. Belly, womb, hips, pelvis. We could go so much more in depth into this. We could go into our ribs, our hands, our legs, our feet, but let's end here. So belly, womb space, hips and pelvis. Landing, not trying to fix anything, not trying to solve anything, just noticing sensations. Mapping your body. What are 2 sensations that you notice in your belly or hips or pelvis or womb space right now? And just because I like to be an example, I like to be really transparent. My 2 sensations are a little bit of sadness. And I know why that is. I've had some it's actually sad. It's not really an emotional sadness. It's more like a body sadness because I've had some stomach pain the last couple of days that I don't know something's off with my food. So it's a little bit of sadness, like my body being like, oh, I wish you were feeding me differently. And then the other sensation I notice is warmth. So just saying to yourself, thank you, body. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. And maybe ending with a little sigh. Maybe connecting those points that we just mapped. So breathing head to throat and heart to pelvis. And up and down that central channel, breathing up and down. Feeling that space where your body is landing in your chair, in your room, in your city, in your country, on this planet. You belong. You are here. Okay. Whew, feeling good. I'm feeling good. Okay, so I think my tea, I'm just going to smell it really quickly. Let's see. It smells good. I'm going to give it a little more time. Let's talk about relationships. I want to pull up my notes. And again, caveat, I'm not a relationship expert. Oh, do you know, I think I see a note here. So this is from Tamaya. She says, I have many disalignments with my husband. We were so tight and on the same wavelength. I have a heartbreak because of it. My body has health issues and I'm desperately trying to repair our relationship. Oh, I just am holding you in my heart because I think that's a really, really, I know a lot of people can relate to that. Having those you were aligned, you were so tight with your husband, and now you're not, and you're seeing health issues. And last week we talked about psychosomatic, how your body tells the stories of your mind and your emotions. And so who knows if maybe some of the health issues are from that misalignment with your love relationship. It could be that some of the health issues contributed to misalignment. It could be that the misalignment contributed to the health issues. We don't know, but it does all play in. It does all feed in, and it matters. And so, so maybe some of what we talk about will help. I'm not sure. I hope so, though. I just want to see you and say, like, that's hard. It's really hard. So, okay. So first I wanted to talk about the categories of relationships. Okay. So I love this. I think a lot of you have probably felt or heard about that idea of, like, does this relationship or even this thing you're doing, this activity, does it expand you or does it contract you? And so we can apply that to relationships for sure. So does the relationship, let's say friendship, but of course it can be applied to any relationship. Does it expand you? Does it make you feel, after you leave the person, do you feel expanded and like lit up and like a little bit lighter and more like, yeah, I can tackle the world? Or when you're even looking at something on social media, like an account you follow on Instagram, say, do you feel like, whoa, yeah, like inspired and expanded after looking at their content? Or do you feel contracted? Like, I don't feel good. I feel like bad about myself, or I feel negative in some way, or I feel just like like a caved in feeling, a contracted feeling, constriction. So I love the idea of expanders and contractors, or what makes you feel expanded, what makes you feel contracted. But I also love the idea that I heard recently about relationships. Some relationships are like a security blanket. So we have expanders and we have contractors, which can be kind of like a wet blanket. Can you imagine a wet blanket? Like how it would feel to have a wet blanket put on you? You probably heard the term like, oh, he's such a wet blanket, or she's such a wet blanket. And usually when that term is said, for anyone who's never heard it before or maybe is not a native English speaker, that term wet blanket is like somebody that you're around and they just kind of make you feel like this, meh. Yeah. Like, I don't know actually what the official definition of a wet blanket would be as far as the way someone makes you feel. But the way I feel is like, oh man, they're a real wet blanket. Like, you feel contracted. You feel kind of like you want to slouch and slump. And I imagine that if I had a wet blanket put on my body, I would be like, you know? So we have expanders and we have contractors or wet blankets. I don't want a wet blanket. And then we also have security blankets. And so those are kind of like the relationships that, for better or worse, are like our little security blanket that we hang on to for comfort. And maybe this isn't good or bad. It's sort of neutral, and good or bad is relative. I don't really love using good or bad anyway, but I mean, ultimately, we want more expanders in our life. The wet blankets or the contractors, that's a little bit rough. We maybe want to spend less time with the wet blankets and the contractors, or figure something out there. But the security blankets are those relationships where maybe you've had them for a long time, and they can be comforting because you know what to expect and you know what that relationship is like, but they're kind of keeping you just comfortable, and they're safe, which can be really good. And yeah, we want that. We want to feel comfortable and safe, but sometimes they are kind of holding you down and holding you back from evolving to where you want to go. So it's just something to notice. Like, the relationships that you're thinking of in your life, are they expanders? Are they security blankets? Or are they wet blankets? So thinking of it that way can be helpful as you're like just sort of deciding where you want to put your energy and your focus. Because I have truly found that where your attention goes, your energy flows, right? We've probably all heard that. And I have found that where my attention goes, the relationships I want to focus more on, I do try to focus my attention on relationships that are expanders for me. And when I focus my attention there, even without having a confrontation or saying something to people who may be more of a wet blanket or a security blanket, those wet blankets and security blankets tend to just naturally kind of fall away. And it's just a vibration thing. Like it's a vibrational match thing. And so I'm curious to know, whenever I get to this point in these Tuesday teas at the Healing House, where I just feel like I've been kind of talking and talking and talking for a long time, I'm really curious to know, is any of this landing for you who are watching? And obviously I know that, if somebody's watching the replay, they can't type it in the chat, but I am very curious. And again, I'm gonna drain my tea. I'm taking my little tea out. But I'm curious, like, is this landing? I know that you probably don't want to in the chat call somebody out or call out a relationship and be like, oh my gosh, my husband's a wet blanket or whatever. You might not want to say that, and that's okay. But is this conversation landing? Is this resonating? Are you feeling it? Are you like, yeah, I can think of some wet blankets, or I can think of some security blankets that, like, honestly, let's give some examples of like a security blanket. Maybe the girlfriends from high school, and maybe you're in your 50s right now, and maybe you still have some friends from college or high school, or I don't know, whatever, a time period in your past. And maybe these girlfriends know a lot about you, and you have a lot of history. And maybe whenever they get together, they want to like just drink wine and talk about the past, or like reminisce about old things, or like gossip. And maybe you're not really into that. So maybe it's not a wet blanket, because maybe you kind of enjoy it. Like when you get in with the conversation, you're like, oh, it's fun to have some wine and to maybe talk shit about some people. I mean, we've all done it, right? And like maybe that feels okay, but it doesn't really feel expansive. It doesn't feel necessarily contracted, like, oh God, what a downer. But it doesn't feel expansive, and it more feels like it's keeping you a little stuck. That's kind of like the security blanket in the kind of not so healthy way. It's the security blanket that's keeping you sort of trapped under the security blanket, when maybe you want to actually take it off and fly a little bit, fly in a different direction. Okay, Dana says it's totally landing. Okay, perfect. And I won't ask you guys to share details, because I don't want you to feel like you're outing somebody in your life that is the wet blanket or the security blanket. But I'm glad it's landing. Take a sip of tea if you haven't already. I'm doing it. It's really good. I feel like the thing with this tea is I feel like it really needs to steep for a long time. I let this tea steep for like probably 5 hours when I was doing body work on a patient the other day, because yes, I do 5 hours of body work at a time with my clients. And the tea was cold by the time I was done. But it was so good because it had been steeping for 5 hours. And this tea, I'm telling you, I'm not aligned or promoting this brand in any way, but this Moon Potion tea is delicious, especially when it steeps for a long time. Okay, Dana says it's Cammie's hearing pain. Cammie's feeling some pain. Cammie, do you want to expand on that? Totally okay if not. But are you resourced to handle the pain that's coming up for you? If not, then I invite you to come into your body, look around your room, feel your sitting bones in your seat. I invite you to look at me. I know we are on different parts of the planet. I know that we're not in the same room together, but just know that my heart has you right now. Of course, anybody at any point, if anything I ever bring up is like, I don't like this. This is too much. I don't like it. It's causing me pain or discomfort. Then come back to it later. You can go and you can come back if you want to and watch the rest of the replay when it's done. But just give yourself a little love, maybe a little hug, a little butterfly taps on your chest. So, okay. Cami says pain and politics are the two things most negatively impacting my ability to find friends. Gotcha. Yeah, that's big. That's big. I just want to see you in that. Like politics especially, that's hard. I do tend to, even in my friendships, my closest friendships, we do talk about it a bit, but it's, for me, it's not a main topic of conversation. And so I don't know if I can't really offer much there, but I will say I see you. That's hard to navigate. Um, Ginny saying, yes, I will say it. My husband is a wet blanket. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you. And I'm sure he's not going to watch this, so you're safe. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. Dana says it's hard to participate in the conversation because it's complicated and kind of vague to type out. Yeah, I hear you. Let me know if what I'm stating is vague, or like if what I'm stating is vague, if it's not making sense, then I can do better at the way I'm speaking. But I know that it is complicated and hard to type out and vague to type out when you're relating it to your own friendships and relationships. It's more of just a thinking point. But if what I'm saying and explaining is not making sense to you all, tell me so I can try to do better. Cami also says, my dislike of alcohol is hard to find friends that you relate with. Yeah. So I guess I would just hold. I mean, what do you, so you mentioned, Cami, and I'll speak to you right now because you're typing it in here, that pain and politics are negatively impacting your ability to find friends. And your dislike of alcohol makes it also hard. So basically, do you want to speak about pain? Do you want to speak about politics with friends? Because obviously it's a part of your life. Obviously, I know that, and I'm not trying to diminish that in any way, but I'm wondering if maybe you want to speak about different things that aren't related to pain or politics. And if you do want to speak about pain and politics, I hold strongly that I'm sure there are people out there with you that would love to speak about those things. And do those things, when you speak about them, do they, obviously I know that they're a common point, they're a theme that you understand and that you relate to, but did they make you feel better when you talk about them, or did they make you feel contracted? Do they make you feel expanded, or do they make you feel wet blanket? Or do they feel security blanket? Ooh, maybe ding, ding, ding. Maybe if it's security blanket, then maybe it's worth exploring finding friends that don't talk so much about pain and politics, and challenging yourself to talk about those other things as well. Even though pain and politics are a big part of your life, maybe if it's been a security blanket to talk and focus on those things, maybe, and maybe not. So you can, if you don't like it, as Sabrina Lynn of Rewilding for Women always says, and I'm going to say a swear word here. She says, if you don't like this, you can chuck it in the fuck it bucket. I love that so much. Chuck it in the fuck it bucket. So if you don't like this, you could chuck it. But maybe it's been a security blanket to feel that you need to find friends. If this is even what you're saying, that you need to find friends who understand or relate to pain in the way you've experienced it, and politics in the way that you experience it. Maybe there's more. I don't know. I'm just saying things. So you can chuck it in the fuck it bucket if that does not land. And then Cami says, pain makes it hard to even get out of the house. Some of my old friends were drunks with political opinions that made me feel unsafe. Yeah. Well, luckily you're here with us right now. See, you're here with us, and we're not going to talk about politics, and we talk about other things too. So I'm so glad you're here with us, Cami, and just know that alcohol, I mean, that is such a common point for so many people, and it is a security blanket for so many people. And while I love a glass of wine here and there, I think a lot of people are moving away A lot of people in the spaces that we all probably want to play in are moving away from alcohol as a meeting ground, a common meeting ground. And so you're not alone in being someone who dislikes alcohol. You're not alone. And there are people out there for you. So I'm just holding that with you. Dana's saying, no, I'm clear. Okay, good. I'm glad that what I'm saying is clear. And I totally understand that it can be hard to like bring it into your own personal relationships you're dealing with. Kim says, yes, it's landing. I have decided to take a break from social media as it is a wet blanket and continue to explore things I love and enjoy. And I know what is meant for me will find me. Yes, Kim. Yes, yes, yes. Tamaya says, my husband was an expander and he became a wet blanket and causes so much sadness and insecurity recently. Okay. So with that, let me talk about the next thing that I do have a note on. So we talked about expanders, contractors or wet blankets, same. And then we talked about security blankets and just kind of taking inventory of your relationships. And I think we've done a really good job just noticing that in our own relationships. So yeah, the next note that I have on here I think I already said this, but it says when you evolve your relationships, allowing some relationships to naturally fall away, which that's what I was saying. If you kind of seek toward the expanders, whether that means online groups that don't feel like wet blankets, online spaces, virtual relationships. I mean, ultimately we have some in-person connections that feel like expanders too, but somebody you've never met in real life can be an expander, right? So when you evolve your relationships and choose toward those expanders, some other relationships will naturally fall away. Yay. And the cool thing is that when that happens, your frequency changes and you might actually find your lifestyle changing as well. You might start changing your food choices. You might start changing your activity choices. You might start eating healthier. You might start moving more. You might start just doing things that those wet blankets or those security blankets didn't do. And so even if you didn't realize you were with security blankets, you might find yourself, your frequency literally changing, and you might find yourself making different, better for you, healthier decisions in your life. So I wanted to highlight that. Now, the next question that I have is kind of with Tamaya, what you're saying. Am I saying it right? Is it Tamia or Tamaya? I'm sorry. I should know this. But you're saying my husband was an expander and he became a wet blanket and causes sadness and insecurity recently. So this is a little different, but I want to talk about like love relationships. And this is partly from my own personal experience. So I'm not going to say anything like too personal, but I want to share a little bit from my real life experience. And it's about the idea of it might not land for you, Tamaya. She says I say it beautifully. Okay, perfectly. This might not land for you because in my personal experience, my husband wasn't causing me insecurity or sadness. So I want to preface this next little bit by saying if you're in a relationship where it's an abusive relationship or a situation where there is like mean things being said to you, I mean, that's emotional abuse. And I'm just going to say it, like that is absolutely not okay. That is so damaging. And I was in an emotionally abusive relationship and physically abusive and sexually abusive and all the things abusive relationship when I was younger, before my husband. And the emotional abuse was the hardest to get over. It was so hard. And so, and a relationship like that is different from what I want to share about next. So just know that. Just know that's different. And that's one that needs to have an end. I mean, this is my opinion, but I feel pretty confident saying that. Like, you need to get out of something that is abusive. And I know it's not easy, but it's possible. And it takes connecting inward, loving yourself. I mean, this is why I am constantly teaching these practices. Oh, I never told you about Touched. If you have not signed up for this yet, go to briannegrogan.com/touched. TOUCHED, touched. Like I'm being touched. It's not a self-touch practice. It's a meditation. It's a guided body meditation. And you are invited to do some sweet, light touching of your body. Nothing intimate. It's really just, just external touching that's sweet and lovely. You're invited to do that if you want to, but you could even just listen to it too. And it's really a beautiful way to be present and land in your body and have an experience of being in your body, because that is the place from which you source your strength and your knowing about relationships, about when to stay and when to go. So if you haven't done that audio, do it. It's briannegrogan.com/touched. And Cami here says emotional abuse can happen without the victim even realizing it. Yeah, that was me for the longest time in that relationship that was rough. I didn't realize it at first, and then I did, and it took a long time for me to leave, but I'm so glad I did. And I mean, it was a 4-year relationship, a young relationship. I was like 18 to 20, no, 3 years. 3 years. I was 18 to 21 or 22-ish. And I'd say the results of that relationship, that 3 or 4 years, lasted with me at least 12 to 15 years that I was healing that stuff. So it's a big deal. Okay, so now, this is what I wanted to talk about. So like I said, this may not, if this is an abusive relationship we're talking about, this doesn't apply. What I want to talk about next is more like maybe the husband is feeling more like a wet blanket. Or maybe like in the case of someone who spoke up earlier, Ginny. I know that if you're still watching, Ginny. So if your husband's feeling like a wet blanket, more because like you feel like you're growing and like wanting new things, or you're learning new things, or you're just like excited about life in this new way, and they're still on the couch, like just watching TV or like on their phone or something like that. And you're like, oh my God, like there's so much in this life to be excited about, and you're over here on your phone, and like, can we ever talk and like get excited together? And like, what the hell's your passion? Where is your passion, person? Like, you know what I mean? That kind of situation. So that was me in my marriage. And so I'll just say this. I thought, and I'd heard from many, many sources, that if you want your partner to grow and evolve with you, you just need to lead the way. You need to grow and evolve and be the way shower, and you do the evolution, and they'll rise to you. They'll meet you in their own time. And so I think that that's partway true, because I've even said that. I've said this about friendships and relationships. Like, you just need to be the way shower. Don't try to change another person, because that doesn't work by like harassing them and being like, you need to read this book, and why won't you listen to this podcast? And like, let's, I mean, to an extent you could try doing things together, but if they feel like you're pointing fingers and blaming and like forcing things down their throat they're not ready for, they're not going to do it. They're just going to resent you. So in that case, it can be a matter of just sort of doing your own thing and your own growth, and hopefully they'll rise and come along for the ride on their own timeline, right? So I've heard that, and I believe it to an extent, but there's this other little piece that I realized I was doing. So long private story, staying private, my husband and I had some issues, big issues, a few years ago. And he swore up and down after these issues happened that he was going to make the changes, because he realized that I'd been growing and he hadn't. And so he started like saying he was going to make these changes, and he didn't. And part of it is because I just don't think I don't know. I could go into this for a long time, and I don't want to go there, but he didn't make the changes. And I felt like I was sort of resentful, feeling like he only wanted to make these changes for me. He didn't actually want them for him. And I wanted him to want them for him, right? But here's the rub, is I didn't actually want him to rise. I was not holding space because I was so mad and resentful and having issues with the issues we'd had and the tough time that we'd gone through, that honestly, I didn't even want him to. I didn't want him to. And so, yeah, I was like, so my mind was saying, okay, if I just keep doing my thing, he'll eventually meet me where I am and we'll be harmonious again. But I didn't actually want him to. Like secretly, I was not holding space for him to become, like energetically, holding space for him to become the man that I wanted to meet me. Does that make sense? Tell me if you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Brianne? I don't get it. But that's it. Is if I can explain it a different way, it's like you can think you are leading the way, being the way shower, and just wanting them to rise with you. But energetically, do you actually want them to? Or energetically, are you done? Or are you actually wanting to go, a different way in your own life? Like, this is a hard thing to look at. This is really hard and it might be really confronting. And I feel like shivers in my body saying, oh my God, Brianne, you should not be talking about this because I don't want to upset anyone. And it's just things to think about. Because when I really brought that to myself and to my own heart, and when I really realized that I was choosing that I didn't want to be done. I didn't want to be done with my marriage. It was a choice at that time. Like, it wasn't necessarily like this full body, like, absolutely, I want to fight with everything I have for this marriage. But I was like, no, I do want to give it another try though. Like, logic was definitely a part of it. My body wasn't fully on board. My mind was like, logically, I do want to give this another try. And then energetically, I realized I was not holding space for him. It's like I was realizing there was so much of me that was not wanting him. I was like resentful of the things and whatever, all the stuff. And so I didn't actually want him to rise. And so I thought, okay, hold on. I see that in me. I see that. And so if I want to have a prayer of a shot of making this work, and I need to realize my energy is thwarting any progress that he would have, any prayer of a chance of him actually rising. And so I opened my heart. I opened my energy to him and thought to myself, I do want him. I am going to hold space that he can, not that he will, because I'm going to let go of any timelines, but that he can, that he is capable of rising, that he is capable of doing this. And I am just holding space that he could. I don't know when, I don't know how. I'm not going to force it down his throat, but I'm also not going to energetically tamp him down and keep him down. I'm going to just open the space beside me for him to rise because I'd been closing it off. And I hadn't really realized it until a certain point. And I don't even know how it happened that I made that realization, but I did. And so when I realized that and allowed myself, because I did want to make the relationship work. I wanted to try. And so I opened that space and said, hey, I feel that he can. And I want to open that space to allow it to happen if it's going to happen. And guess what? It happened. Like, it happened. And I'm really happy in my marriage right now. And so that's wonderful. To me, that's a happy ending for right now. And he is making changes. We are connecting in new ways that we hadn't connected like in forever. I mean, honestly, it's not even like going back to how we were when we were younger, because we were different people when we were younger. It's like we're going to new levels together in a way that I didn't know was possible. And so I am grateful. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the case with every relationship, because maybe in some relationships, they still aren't going to rise. But it's almost like you have to, if you choose this, you open the space and you believe that they can. You believe that they can. And then you have to just let it go and see what happens. And again, no pressure, no timeline. It's just like, let it go. You cannot micromanage it. But if you're closing off that space and like thwarting the process unconsciously, like you don't really know you're doing this, but if you are, because maybe really you don't want to be with them anymore, or, you don't want to choose to make it work, or maybe you there may be other reasons. Maybe they're abusive and you really realize this isn't a good situation for me to be in. So there are reasons why. Now, again, I'm going to stop talking because this has felt really like, it feels a little raw and it feels a little exposing. So I'm going to be done with my part of the conversation and stories. And I just want to see in the comments if there's anything coming up for you all. So, okay, yes. Oh, good. Nikki, yes, finally grabbed a live. Think I missed most. No problem. If you missed this F Southwell 6736, you can always catch the replay. I feel like it's been a pretty juicy conversation. So I hope you'll catch the replay if you are still watching. So Kim says this makes sense. Cami says this resonates. Jenny says so good. Okay, good. I'm glad this is landing. Tamia says so similar to my relationship with my husband. F. Southwell says, yep, me and my husband are like this. I feel like I'm moving and he is not. He doesn't want to, and I feel like I'm banging my head. How much do we cope with, especially if there are children involved? Yeah, that's hard. And I mean, it's a decision, in my opinion. It's a decision that you have to make. Well, there's no have to's. I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I am not a relationship expert. I don't have answers. I just have my own experience. And I feel like, we have a child, and a child was involved in our relationship troubles that we had. And, again, it was part of the reason that I, chose to want to make things work. But again, I'd realized that I was closing off the possibility energetically that I didn't think he was capable. Like, just being brutally honest, I didn't think he was capable, and I didn't really want him to, because in a way, I kind of wanted to go do my own thing. I kind of wanted to go explore and study and do all these things by myself. So I had to realize that I was doing that and be like, okay, Brianne, if you're choosing because you want to choose this, again, not because I'm being forced to choose it, but because I want to, and like logically, like I'm looking at the whole picture, I'm looking at everything, and I'm saying, okay, I do want to choose this relationship, then I had to open the space and not, like, allow him to be capable of rising. So yeah, the children involved do make it more complicated. I get it. Kim says, thank you for sharing such a personal thing. It can help so many. I hope so. Yeah, I just want to, I told my husband that I was going to be talking about relationships today. And I said, I'm going to probably bring up some things in a very in a private but yet open way about what we went through. And I hope it helps. And yeah, I'd love to, I think personal stories help. And even if I can't tell you all the details, it's good to know that the people that we're connecting with, online or whatever, it's like they're real humans dealing with real things. And we've all had pain, and we all have stuff that we're going through, and we all have choices we need to make. And we all have complicated lives with children and finances and homes and whatever, all the things. It's not so cut and dry as you might hear in people who are like, just leave them, just go do your own thing, or just, go spread your wings, you be you, girl. Those kinds of things, I believe. And I also know, I do believe, make choices that make you feel your highest, most expanded self. And sometimes we need to make those choices within the confines of the reality we're living in. And sometimes we do need to try and see where maybe I might be contributing to some of this blockage in the other person. And I was really honest with myself, and I realized I was. And I'm not saying that's it for everybody here, but it was for me. And so I just like to bring that up, is I was blocking him. And when I opened my heart to him being his best self too, he did. And it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen. Okay. This has been really fun. So I hope that it's helped. If you're a tea drinker right now with me, I'm going to take a sip of tea. If there's anything else that wants to go in the comments, put it in now, because we'll wrap it up. It's been almost an hour. So, little sip of tea, big exhale. And I guess I'll just end by saying, this human experience is messy. It is messy, and it is a lot. And so the more you can come in to your own body, the more you can feel grounded within your own body and within your own soul, the more you can literally feel somatically your body on this planet right now, you can notice gravity, you can feel yourself here. It makes it easier to handle this crazy life that can feel like this. Decisions and choices and energy and all the things. So the more you can root into you on a regular basis, whether that's through like my touched audio, again, try it out, briannegrogan.com/touched. It's totally free. Or through practices like just even 2 breaths. It's been shown that literally 2 breaths, 2 in and out, 2 of them is enough to literally repattern your nervous system, like change your nervous system's state, to actually change your state. 2 breaths, come into your body. It helps us make the most of this short life that we have. It's quite short, so we might as well make the most of it. We're here for a little while on this crazy planet. So remember gravity. Remember gravity's holding you. And F. Southwell says, I do believe that as we evolve spiritually, become more awake, it also affects friendships, family relationships, as well as relationships with partners. Nikki, yeah, absolutely. And I talked a little bit about friendships at the beginning of this, if you missed that part. So it does evolve. And it can allow us to expand and move to different vibrations where we're evolving it and we're vibrating and certain things naturally fall away. And this love part that I was talking about here at the end is more, is a little different, but hopefully it all kind of makes sense and just gives you things to think about. So let's all take one deep breath together. So in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sigh. And actually, one more, where you connect in with the fact that right now, if you're watching live, we are all breathing at the same time. So just picture the globe and picture that we are like, there's not many of us. There's like 6 of us right now. Cool. So there's 6 of us watching live. If you're one of those 6, don't go away quite yet. Know that we're all breathing together right now. Different parts of the world, but we're all held by the same gravity, the same Mother Earth. So let's all breathe together right now and just feel into your sisters around the globe. And that is a cool use of technology. So yeah. All right, my friends, keep evolving, keep thinking about your expanders, your wet blankets and your security blankets. Just hold it lightly. Just notice. Nothing you need to do right now. Just notice. And then, of course, also notice if there may be relationships that you are choosing or that you want to make a case for, that you want to make a try for, but they're not quite right. One person's evolving, the other person's not. Are you holding space for them to evolve, or are you subconsciously keeping them down? It's just food for thought. So yeah, I love you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.